How has technology changed education?
Well, I would say it's changed it pretty profoundly through the use of devices, through the use of telecommunications, so the ability for us all to be able to use devices to learn from in real time, as opposed to always having to be in a classroom environment. And I think it also helps us to be able to learn continuously as opposed to just in the classroom. How's that sound?
Good.
Okay, so when I went to school, which was when I graduated from high school 44 years ago, there weren't any of these, there weren't any of those, there were no computers. Everything we did was on paper. All the books we read were books that were handed out. We had nothing online. All the blackboards were all blackboards. Everything we learned was written on the blackboard by the teacher. I remember an announcement over the loudspeaker. So we did have an intercom system, but that was the extent of technology. Nobody had cell phones. It's changed how you learn. It's changed how they teach.
Oh, I think technology means you kids know way more earlier in your life than I ever did, because I didn't have the technology. Didn't have iPads, didn't have, what else? Didn't have any of this. That was, like I said, all I could do was blow up the chemistry lab making a volcano.
Oh, I think it's tremendously expanded the educational opportunities. It's made education more fun. It's made it easier to find answers, and I think it's put the world and solutions to problems at our fingertips that before we would have had to take a lot of time to get to. So I think it's changed education tremendously and in almost all positive ways.
How are your thoughts on how technology impacts education's future?
Oh, well, I think technology is the way of education in our future. I think that it will reinvent how we learn, where we learn at, and the simple accessibility to education. It will become much, much easier for us to learn.
The future?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Both of my children are engineers. My son is a mechanical engineer, and he works for an aerospace company, and he is designing new interiors for aircraft, and it's all done on a computer. And now we have these new kind of printers, these 3D printers. Have you guys seen those?
Yeah, there's one right there.
Yeah, they're really cool. That is going to change the future, and you guys are going to be the ones that are going to be using those and making them better. And that's how it's going to change our future.
Well, I think education impacts technology's future too. Because the more you know, right?
I think there are a lot of different ways that technology could impact the future. What I hope it doesn't do is replace teachers. But I think there's the possibility to extend education to people who didn't have it before. Like I've been to Africa, for instance, and where there aren't a lot of resources, you can share those resources now in education by using technology and make them available to people who otherwise would not have had them. So I think we'll always need people in education to be good teachers and trainers, but I think that technology can expand the opportunity to work with those people.
How can funding technology for K-12 education impact our learners today?
Profoundly. How's that sound? Here in North Dakota, we have a constitutional requirement that we make sure every child has the right to an education. So in order for every child to have that right to an education, equal education, that means that the state has to be a participant in making sure that your school is adequately funded to make sure that you all have what you need to learn, as well as every other kid in the state.
Number 3, how can funding technology for K-12 education impact our learners today?
Well, K-12 funding is probably one of our most important functions as a state government. And I believe we should fund we should push our kids harder. I think we should make them go to school longer during the year. And I think that we should start them a little earlier. But we need to make sure that we fund education. And I think one of the most important things is that we take our teachers and take their salaries up higher, make that some of the most important people in our society. And that's how I think it should be effective.
Representative Anderson.
Well, I think we should give you as much money as we can to keep doing this and to hire great people like Mr. Steiner to help you out and guide you. So,
Well, I think it's a critical part of what we do to make our students competitive in the world. I think it's essential that we use technology in ways that can improve your learning experience and also allow you to solve problems of the future too. So there's really no choice but to fund technology and to fund it at a high level so that we not only can be the best we can be, but so we can contribute to the world, which is also using technology.